Cyclone MMA. So Anderson Silva is returning to the ring once again. Since departing the sport of MMA, he's had 2 pro fights in boxing. He boxed Julio Cezar Chavez Jr. and he got a decision victory. Then he fought Tito Ortiz and knocked that boy out. Now he is fighting 25-year-old Jake Paul, who, let's go ahead here and just take a look at his record. He's 5-0 professionally. He's fought a YouTuber, a basketball player, a wrestler, and a UFC champion, Tyron Woodley, where he won by split decision and then he knocked him out in the next fight. Now, he did have a fight scheduled against a boxer, and I had, respected him for at least trying to fight a boxer, and that never came to fruition, so he goes right back to the old MMA fighters, picking a fight with a 47-year-old. What I will say is I like this matchup for Anderson Silva a lot more than I liked, Tyron Woodley's odds and Ben Askren's odds. I think we all knew Ben Askren was in for a rough night. He's not a good striker. We knew that watching him fight in MMA, and just seeing him fight someone who's just like an athletic young person who's in good shape, it's not going to end well. Now, how do I see Anderson Silva versus Jake Paul faring? Now, Silva is a slower version of himself. He's an older version of himself. He is probably a chinnier version of himself. He's had so many fights. He's been in boxing fights. He's had a whole career in MMA where he's probably had 50, if not more, pro fights. And now, at 47 years old, he's going to take on a 25-year-old in a boxing match, someone who's probably going to outweigh him, probably someone who's going to be faster than him in the ring. With that being said, I still think Anderson Silva wins this fight. I think Jake Paul's biting off a little bit more than he can chew here. I think Silva is an elusive striker, and I don't have to say I think, I know he is. It's just a matter of, can he replicate what he was like in his youth today? Even in his losses in MMA, he never really looked bad. If you look at his fight with Israel Adesanya, he was in that fight. He won a round in that fight. If he can capture any of that in a bottle and, avoid big punches from Jake Paul, Anderson Silva can have a very, very good night at the office. This is the biggest guy that Jake Paul's ever fought. He's going to be the most powerful guy that Jake Paul's ever fought and the most skilled. So I think it's looking good for Anderson Silva. It's going to be interesting because if Jake Paul loses, is this whole party trick done? Is he done with boxing? Is he going to go back to the YouTube, TikTok space? I don't know. I guess in a weird way, respect to Jake Paul for doing all this. I don't like this guy. You guys can tell that from just the way I'm talking about it. I really don't like him, but anyone who steps in the ring, you got to give him some amount of respect, even if they are kind of handpicking people. But I think that this is a decent next step for Jake Paul. It's still an old guy who's retired and is on a crazy losing streak, at least in MMA. So that's kind of rough. I would like to see him box a boxer. I know he's had a few scheduled, and there's been injuries and pullouts and a bunch of other stuff. But, yeah, Jake Paul versus Anderson Silva. I have Silva winning this. It's happening in October. It's going to be October 29th. And best of luck to Anderson Silva, because if I see him get knocked out by Jake Paul and I see that little douchebag like cheering and standing over Anderson Silva's body like he's some fucking badass, it's gonna grind my gears, people. I'm not gonna like it. It's gonna bother me. I'm gonna cry, okay? I don't want to cry. I'm probably not gonna watch it, because why would I watch that? But yeah, that's it. That's the video. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you like MMA, subscribe to this channel. I don't usually talk about Jake Paul. Usually I talk about MMA. Usually I talk about the UFC and Bellator and all that jazz. So if you're into that shit, subscribe below, leave a like. I'll see you guys later. Peace out. I'm putting him at unbeatable. I was a Francis doubter. And after he beat Stevie, I said I will never doubt that guy.
I know his mama got tickets, so shut the f*** up. Hey, don't talk to me.